We are live in the iHeart Studio. I'm Eric Danger 9 Ices, and this is the Retro Radio Live. On tonight's show, I am thrilled to have known this guy, Dr. Mego Paul Clarke, for a while. The heir apparent and the king of Mego, and a force that drove the imagination of planets filled with apes to taking the U.S. Enterprise to other planets, the legend, Marty Abrams. And we are proudly brought to you by Cafe Grumpy. We all know, everybody knows, I'm a huge coffee guy, and I have to produce at speeds and precision to make deadlines. Well, I do it with Heartbreaker Espresso from Cafe Grumpy. From their cold brew to amazing instant, check out cafegrumpy.com. And my absolutely favorite, absolutely retro. Now, there's a certain amount of frustration in the toy community. How am I going to find it? Is it going to be in good condition when it arrives? The wonder if it's packed right and delivered on time. Two things you need to know: Absolutely Retro and Frank Absolutely Retro and Frank Wojo. Check them out at absolutelyretro.com, and you will thank me later. So I'm going to do the shocking news. My co-host got stuck in a COVID situation, so I am covering the news and the other half of this interview this afternoon. But December 22nd, 2024, Disney launched its exclusive 4-pack, which included Spider-Man, the Lizard, the Green Goblin, and the new Electro at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And 11:04, they were sold out, making for an interesting collectible frenzy. The last piece is very sad. We lost Val Kilmer this week from Top Gun to Batman. As I had only met him one time, I can personally want to dedicate tonight's show to his work and his memory. And when we come back, Dr. Mego Paul Clarke and the godfather of Mego, Marty Abrams. All right, we are back. I am Eric Danger 9 Heis.
Doug, Paul Clarke.
Marty Abrams.
Marty Abrams. You two guys have, they talk about Mego being such a small genre, but it's like such a big world inside that little genre of ours. Don't you agree?
Yes. Every kid in the 70s grew up with Mego.
Yeah,
into the 80s, because they stayed out on Mego did 500,000 figures a year for 10 years. So that's a lot of product that went out there to every kid.
And who would have thought? Because I remember seeing them for $1.49, $1.99.
In the 80s.
Late 70s, early 80s, and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And now you look at My Incredible Hulk. Some of this stuff's worth hundreds of dollars.
Did you know about the Toys R Us Hulks?
No.
In the 80s, every Toys R Us had a wall of Mego Hulks. That they bought because the TV show,
mm-hmm.
and then the TV show went off the air, and they had all this, Mego went out of business, so Toys R Us just kept them at $1.99.
Oh my God!
And the arms and legs were breaking off.
Oh, I saw that on a couple.
In the package.
Okay.
But we all thought of it and said, "Oh, they'll be there forever. These will always be available." Now one of those is easily $50 to $100.
I see them pop up on eBay every once in a while.
Just because, by virtue of the fact that everything finds a home.
I mean, of course I get the repro boxes. But if you take them out of the box, you'll see I get the stuff that's nice, all the joints are tight.
Yeah.
There's no discoloration. Yeah, you made that.
You made
that.
That looks like me. I'm not drinking.
Yeah, there you go. Now you're Scotch. So, just because I know a lot of these questions and answers. You do too. A lot of people are just coming back into Mego. In what year, Marty, did you take over Mego?
69.
I was 2.
Okay.
And you were 4.
I wasn't much older.
Yeah.
So, I can't believe how you blink and time just goes flying by. What's a typical day for you now?
Are you talking today? Or are you talking then?
Today.
It's very strange because at the end of the day, we've got different plates that we're filling constantly. I mean, the Mego stuff is always going.
Right.
We're always bringing a new product, a new idea. I went to Disney and said, "Hey, listen, give us the rights for distribution for Marvel.
Yeah.
Retail-wise, we'll have a huge success with it. No one's done it. You've kept it strictly with Hasbro, and they really have bleeded all they can out of it. What you need is to get more specific."
Huh.
Their contract didn't allow us to do that, but they said we have it and we own the rights and we can do whatever we want.
Right.
In theme parks, Disney digital and stores. Why don't we just create it for that? And so boom, that exploded, and we dropped out last Christmas.
It was December. Yeah, it was December 12th.
22nd.
22nd.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was.
I was there doing this.
It was extraordinary. That has now led to additional product. They blew out like $200,000 or $400,000 of retail like in 3 minutes. There was no more goods. I mean,
Right.
So for all intents and purposes, now we're scrambling to make some more product for them to get it to them over the summertime. But because of that, now they realize that there's a whole. We have hundreds and hundreds of characters. That
Oh my God, it's endless.
No one who's ever seen. So we're in that process.
Okay.
And then we have a second leg of the stool, which is, I'm very big because I'm such an old guy. I go back to my nostalgia pieces. Skydancer. We just dropped Skydancer at Amazon, and it exploded.
I saw.
I mean, just off the charts. I mean, we're talking about they're going to do a couple of 100,000 pieces.
Wow.
And absolutely zero marketing across the board. I mean, they just reeled 80,000 pieces. And the last piece of the stool is 2XL, which we did back in '78.
I know.
So
remember.
you Mego guys who did that.
Yeah.
We know then when Mego went out of business, we went to Tiger, and we dropped it at Tiger in '93.
Wow.
But although the technology changed, went from 8-track to cassette. The character was consistent, the voice of the character, the personality of the character, and that exploded between '93 and '96. And what then happens is, new technology comes out.
Yeah.
Basically, we taught them all the marketing strategies.
Yep.
And then what happens? They come up with Furby, which blows away, literally 2XL, but for all intents and purposes, 2XL is the father of Furby, and the father Teddy Ruxpin, and the father of Alf, and anything that's out there, because it all started from that foundational piece. So it didn't take rocket scientists to figure out when all this AI stuff came out, that we should be doing 2XL in AI, and where all these other systems were closed systems, the new 2XL is an open system.
Right.
So if you want to know what my day is,
Yeah.
just put together 50 years of toy expression, jam it every day, and continue to process it. It's been pretty extraordinary for an old guy like me, but very, very emotionally rewarding.
Again, when I first met you at Toy Fair, I thanked you a million times for helping me expand on my imagination. And I still, to this day, like, I've got an emotional attachment to these figures. Like, I keep them in my office, I keep them in my bedroom, I keep them around me, because it brings me back to a time where I wasn't worried about what was going on television. I was more worried about, getting up the next day and getting a new Klingon and going to this next planet and doing, because at the end of season 3 for Star Trek, we literally had to create like our own.
Yes.
And then when Planet of the Apes came out, and I'm going to show you this real quick. Let me grab this. Could you pick that up?
Here goes.
So, and I'm showing Marty and Paul the astronaut, I wanted so bad to see Taylor, and Nova and all these other guys.
Right.
And I never showed any appreciation to this figure until much later. Like, is this all original?
Yes.
That even the string around the neck?
The string around the neck.
The string around the helmet, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I haven't done anything with them, but yeah. That hung out. That held up.
It really did. Again, I like the tubes too. I have it in a tube.
The earliest version had like a cloth belt with a buckle.
Oh, yeah, it did like an elastic
Yeah.
band belt.
Like the Robin belt.
Okay. Yeah.
And then the later ones went to plastic because it's easier.
So is that a T2 belt on a
No,
T1 figure?
No, it's just T1.
Okay.
Planet of the Apes was in production for 2 years.
I love the Planet of the Apes stuff. That was my first love.
Yeah.
I never got to play sets and stuff, but, literally, like every time I skinned my knee, my mother was buying me a new Mego.
Well, I loved your mother very much.
She was a great lady.
We were very good friends after hours.
How's the difference between trying to get licensing now as opposed to getting it then?
Well, altogether different world. I mean, we were the only ones at that time who were fully committed to doing licensing.
Right.
I mean, there were a couple of companies, Mattel would grab a piece here, and Hasbro, because of G.I. Joe, very little. There was a company called AHI that was trying to chase me. Bride did. We're trying to get the licenses, but we were just so far ahead of everybody else. Everything came to us.
Do you think it was foresight, or do you think it was a lot of influence from your kids? Because I read earlier stuff, you know, when you took your children to go see Planet of the Apes, and you came out of the theater, and you were like, boom.
Oh, it's all of the above. I mean, we lived it. I mean, that was our, you know, once we did Batman, you know, which was the offshoot of our other product lines that were not necessarily that successful.
Right.
Once we did, and we had a great success with Batman, and then I became very good friends with Stan, because, you know, for all intents and purposes, his office was right up the block from mine on Madison. I used to walk back and forth.
Yeah, I miss him, dude.
So a combination of the two, we you know, all the other stuff would fall into our dad. The first company they would call would be us, because they knew that we would get distribution from it instantaneously without having to go through the hierarchy of all the other companies. Every other company, you went through the brand management. From brand management, you went to management.
Right.
That had, somewhere along the board of directors had to give you the approval. With me, it was just like it, let's go. And so we had, you know, so in those days it was all about us. Today, everybody's in it at some level. There's nothing that's sacred across the board, and pricing is just extraordinary in terms of, you know, we're paying 5-6% for licensing royalty agreements. Today they're 20, 22.
Oh,
depends on how hot they get and where and how, and they break them down by country, by size, by imagination. It's today it's a totally insane area.
It's not even about toys anymore. It seems to be all about money.
About control.
Yeah.
The licensor wants a lot more control than they used to have.
Who actually physically put the Disney deal together?
Which one?
Marty.
Well, I mean, these are friends of mine for 40 years. I mean, you can't. Again, it's not going through a whole system. It's them and me, and we did it. That's how that happens.
Right.
But that doesn't happen. For example, if I want to sell Walmart all these Marvel characters, I can't.
Oh no! Are you kidding me?
Because of excluded from by contracts.
Oh.
But it's Hasbro owns the master license. So they have gotten very smart how to do it. In other words, they got a price point. Anything that's under $80, you can't sell any of the Marvel characters retail. So we get around that. How do we get around that? We'll get 4 characters. We'll pack them together.
Oh.
Doesn't work.
Aha.
That was aha moment, but they won't allow you to do that. So everybody knows the nuances in the game plan, and Hasbro pays them so much in royalty income.
Oh, I bet. How do you say no?
They can't. But the other side of the coin is they know they're leaving a lot of business on the table because of that contract.
Right.
And but rather than split it up, they don't. But they found, but they have retained for their own stores and their own digital and their own theme parks. They have retained the ability to go out and sell that stuff.
Now, just to switch gears a little bit, I know when Desilu split Star Trek between Paramount and CBS, Paramount got the film rights and CBS got the toys and TV and the merchandise. And that's one of the things that J.J. Abrams thought. He thought he was going to get all this big Star Wars money doing the Star Trek films, not realizing that CBS went, no, that's it. Like, you'll never see a Star Trek film commercial on television because of CBS. When you got your Star Trek license, whom did you deal with? CBS, Paramount, or both? Do you remember?
I dealt with a licensed agent in between.
Okay.
And so I made that first deal. The first deal, just so you know, by advance. I'm not sure everybody understands this publicly, but I'll say it for the first time publicly.
Okay.
It was $5,000 for the master toy license.
Jeez.
And then what happens is Paramount takes it all inside.
Yep.
And they bring in a woman who comes out of licensing, but all adult stuff, not kid stuff.
Right.
And she comes to me and says, Marty, listen, you're our lead licensor here. Give us an idea of what to do, how to do it. And we laid out an entire plan for them for all product, all everything, because we thought that would help us in terms of marketing the brand.
That's so funny.
And she was so successful doing that.
Right.
She became president of Paramount. Dawn Steele.
Wow.
And I will tell you that she has passed away at a very, very young age.
Right.
Very, very sad, but she's a brilliant woman, and she didn't limit herself to what was done before. It's what can be done now and what can be done in the future.
You remember the SOP I sent you, my standard operating procedure on communication and brand protection, like a while ago?
I'll say yes.
Okay, I wrote that because we were doing a pilot for the new. Your coffee's right there, by the way. If you want coffee, you're good. Okay. We were doing a pilot for Netflix because they were shopping, and J.J. Abrams had first right of refusal, and he wanted $24 million an episode. So Netflix was like, we're gonna go shopping. It took us 4 months to write that standard operating procedure between legal at Paramount and legal at CBS. I will, now that he said that, I will bet your bottom dollar that 60% of the stuff in there that came from them came from him.
Absolutely.
Probably more.
Yeah.
What we did, and this is all her idea, by the way, but she turned around and put a symposium together at Paramount, at the studio, with 500 licensees. And her and I put together this whole plan.
Yeah.
And we broke it down by price point, by category, by demographic, across the board. So it didn't exist at that time. The only one who had an internal licensing department back in the 70s was Disney.
Right.
Warner's didn't have it.
Nope.
Paramount, Universal, none of them had. Today, it's a major part of their marketing and money plan, but they didn't have it. At that time, we were working through agencies. I mean, when MGM came in and they were doing Planet of the Apes, they had an agent. I bought it from an agent. I didn't buy it from the studio.
That's funny. That is so funny. Talk about the first time you met Marty Abrams.
2004.
Really? That late?
MegoCon, yes.
Oh.
We were at doing, the first time we tried to have.
I never liked Paul Bunyan.
That's the rumor. I read it on the internet, so it must be true.
We tried to do a convention of,
like a Mego meet?
Yeah, this is before that.
Right.
And it was like 200 guys, and it was like they thought it was going to be like a dentist convention.
Oh.
And I'm like, these guys don't care. All they care about is buying stuff. All they care about is what they don't have.
Right.
So I was in the, dealer room selling my replacement parts.
I loved it.
And Marty's son, Ken, came up and said, "Oh, you should meet my dad." I go, "Does he
What?
want to meet me?"
Oh, what?
I'm a bootlegger.
That's a well. There's two sides to that coin. Okay, I personally, looking from the outside looking in, you were never a bootlegger to me.
Well, no, because it's parts. It's not it's not complete figures.
But again, you kept the flame going. Yes.
Listen, I've seen the cauldron that he works in.
Oh, was it a cauldron?
He was definitely a bootlegger.
Oh, was he really?
Probably a bootlegger.
For some reason, I feel like you're one of those old school mechanic shops where you have a shelf like a slide in for boots, capes.
Oh, really? Yeah. No, I'm
not that
not
organized.
that neat.
Oh, you're not?
I'm Oscar, not Felix.
Oh man.
That's what you said to be driving over. Is that part of your rap?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I'll be happy. I'm proud to be Oscar.
I never knew. What is your prized Mego?
Would be my removable mask Batman.
Okay.
I got in 1972.
And what's that worth today?
About 1,000.
That's
in the
all?
box. Yeah, I think so. I don't know.
Do you still have toys, Marty, or no?
I gotta tell you a funny story.
Yes, please.
Mego goes out of business, and I know it's going down, so I'm insane what to do.
Are you going out of business because you can't get licenses, or you just were done?
No, I'm going out of business because Star Wars kicked my ass.
Okay, that's okay.
Over and out. I mean,
Yeah.
We had 7% of the male action business prior to Star Wars. It went down to 20%, and we couldn't move fast enough to replace the business. By the way, we were real close to coming out of the hiccup.
Right.
But no one had my vision in terms of my financial guys, so
Right.
we go up. But I know I'm going out, so I go to my factory in China, and I order in 100 pieces of every single one of my characters.
Did you really?
In original boxes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm talking Batman, Spider-Man,
Green Goblin, all of them.
Green. Well, it obviously would have been
If it was in production.
Yeah. Oh,
so,
yeah.
but I must have brought in 2,500 pieces
Okay.
of every character today.
Wow.
I mean, everything that's shortage. And what I did was I had a huge bedroom.
Okay.
I had it on the wall of all my characters.
Oh my God.
Right? And then I had a backup in the basement.
Backup for the backup.
And a backup for the backup. And what happens is every time someone came to the house, my wife would give stuff away.
No.
She gave away 2,000 pieces, probably somewhere around $44 million
Oh my God.
worth of original, beautiful,
Wow.
gorgeous, magnificent stuff. And so be it. And I laughed because everybody asked me, what have you got? What have you kept? Remember, we were so far ahead of the curve.
Right.
We didn't know we were coming up on the curve. So, collectability at that time was for someone who maybe collected diamonds. They certainly weren't collecting toys.
Right. Who knew?
Who knew? And so that's why they gave me the moniker, the father.
Godfather.
Of the action,
The
of
Godfather.
the
It's the
action,
Godfather.
because we made everything, and all of our brands, whether it be Batman, Spider-Man, whether it be Planet of the Apes, all of the ones that we took. I mean, I didn't take Dick Tracy.
Right.
You know, there were a bunch of brands that were offered to me. I wouldn't take because they weren't what and they didn't fit my mentality.
Right.
All went from generation to generation to
Right.
generation. And that's why the whole process works.
So you're basically saying you have nothing left.
Less than nothing. Actually, I owe him $20.
Okay. For gas. So I know we can't really talk too much about it. In a perfect world, when do you think we're going to see the next Disney set come out?
Next week.
In a perfect world.
That's a perfect world.
July.
July?
Yeah.
Okay. And again, I want to explain this to people because sometimes they're too thick-headed to get it. Like other people that are in the Mego ambassadors groups and everything else, but pre-orders are everything, you know.
But in this case, it isn't even it's not a matter of pre-order.
Well, I'm segueing into the next wave.
Okay, well that's another story.
Yeah, I'm killing Disney right off the bat
Okay.
because we can't talk about
Yeah.
it, so I'm not going to dwell on
Okay.
it. So, but July.
Okay.
July for the next 4-pack, right?
Mhm.
Are people still going to have more opportunities to get the original 4-pack with the Spider-Man and stuff? Are we
Can't-
making any more of those? Or?
Can't say anything to it.
Okay, that's fine. So let's segue.
What did you say?
I said we can't say anything until we're told
Yes.
to say
Yeah.
something.
that's fine.
That I can say. Yeah, we're good.
We can say that we can't say anything.
Yeah, okay.
That's what we're saying.
Okay.
Okay. So, so the next wave is coming.
Yeah, of like DC and horror and
Right. Okay. Yeah, I saw all the great stuff, and I gave you my word. I didn't post anything from Toy Fair, and then bam, like next day everything was up, and I was
everybody was posting stuff from.
I didn't. You asked me not to, and I did.
Yeah,
not.
I mean, we forgot to put up the signs that say pending license or approval.
Right.
So we got yelled at by
Oh, did you?
one licensor, and we're like, sorry, we had the signs, we forgot to get them out in time.
So are we waiting on pre-order numbers, or how does this work now for the next wave?
We just wanted to get the diamond situation resolved.
Okay.
So that they seem
Resolved.
to be done. Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Out of bankruptcy and.
Oh,
moving
good.
on.
God bless them.
So license to play and diamond and then Frank will get them and I mean everything's approved, ready to go.
Okay.
It's just a matter of when I'm told to press the button, we press the button.
So okay. So and this is a big question even for myself. I love the boxes.
Yeah.
What makes the cut for the boxes? Are we still going to use boxes?
Whatever I'm told to do.
Okay, I love the boxes.
Look, the box is great, but the box is not a very retailer friendly. Yeah.
I mean, it was for Big Lots.
Actually, Big Lots put them in a display in a CDU. Like
Yeah, I still have a
display
couple
unit,
of those.
so like
Yeah.
9 in there.
Right.
And
What year are we talking about?
just this year, this past year,
Yeah.
new stuff.
Yeah. So are you okay? So I like the boxes, Marty. How do you feel about the boxes?
I like whatever sells.
Okay.
That's
Well,
the key.
because again, like the Hawkman, everybody's like, oh, it's in the blister pack. You
No,
know.
it's in a nice new big box that allows to show off a lot more.
Oh, so it's not a blister pack.
That's not a blister, no.
That's a box.
Yeah, but if
That's cool.
But if Walmart says we want it in a blister, boom, it goes in a
Oh
blister.
no, of course. I mean, yeah, because I'm only buying one. They're buying 1,000 or whatever it is. I get it.
Mhm.
Plans on play sets. Are there any plans on doing any play sets?
There's lots of plans. We've
Okay.
worked out, a lot of things, but the point is, retailers usually don't want to take that space.
Yeah, we were talking about that.
It's a big item to
Right.
put on a shelf.
Is there a reason that Mego's not selling retail? Like I can't go on like MegoCorp.com and buy like a bunch of stuff. Is there a reason you're not doing retail?
Yes,
Okay, perfect.
we're lazy.
Is that really the only reason?
We're lazy. And
Wow.
it's all Paul's fault.
Well, I knew that. That was
so,
coming.
so when we get out of here, I'm gonna kick him in the ass.
Is Dr. Mego still in business away from Mego Corp?
Yes,
And how do we find stuff for you?
the same website, drmego.com. I've been there for 25 years.
Okay.
Minding my own business.
Mind your own business. And you still work at Mego?
Yeah.
No, he doesn't work at me.
I'm comic relief.
There you go.
No, he's now the head of product design for Mego.
Oh, are you really?
So they tell me.
Oh, wow.
I still row.
There you go. What are your thoughts? I want to talk about a couple of things real quick. Thoughts on Tammy Vasquez, who helped a lot of people of us out for Disney shoppers.
She's a Disney shopper.
We couldn't get. I literally sat for 45 minutes.
What is the question?
The question is, how do you feel about Disney shoppers getting your stuff into clients' hands?
I think they're fantastic.
Okay.
Every single one of them.
Absolutely.
And they're entitled to whatever spread they make. They got that. They do the hard work.
Oh no, I didn't realize that they actually have to pay every time they go into the shop. I thought Disney hired them.
Oh no.
No, they have to buy a pass to go in there.
Oh, okay.
Like you actually have, I guess you get like the lifetime pass or whatever it is, but it's still not free. Like I thought.
Nothing's free. They're fantastic, and I give them a personal round of applause.
What do you think? Maybe you would know. What happens to the big lock stock now that they're out of business? Like what happens to all those figures? Are they just all?
They sold.
They have nothing left.
Yeah, they had nothing left. They cleared out.
Okay.
If there's any inventory, it's like anything in these places where they get left, when you can find a lot of things showing up. But yeah, it isn't like any plan.
Okay.
It's just chaos.
Was there any? Because I personally get it, and I said this at Toy Fair. We saw a lot of the new body styles breaking. Okay, like just people just normally take them out of the box and them snapping, and maybe it's just
What are you talking about?
The 50th anniversary.
Yeah, the 50th anniversary stuff. Like the body system's completely different. Like it's more articulation. The legs don't bend like different ways, and a lot of times they would just snap off. I never take my stuff out of the boxes, so I don't have that problem.
We had an issue,
Yes.
and we told the factory, and they addressed it, and they shouldn't be happening. If anybody does, send me a picture. I'll get right over to the factory.
Were there any talks or discussions about bringing back the original body style, like the Hulk with the rubber bands?
No.
Okay, that's fair enough. I still like the old school stuff. One thing I want to talk about was, and a lot of people don't realize what you have done, Paul, is when you had to recreate a lot of this stuff, you forfeited a lot of your personal collection to send to China for reproduction.
Well, yeah, that's if you want the Romulan helmet done in the factory, you need to send it to them.
And you never get that stuff
No,
back.
it doesn't come back. Nothing comes back.
That's insane. All right, so I got some fan questions, and we'll wrap after that. So the first one is from Bruce Billion. He asked, when can we expect more Star Trek releases? In my opinion, the Big Bang Theory stuff, I consider it Star Trek.
100%.
I do.
No. Yeah. The Paramount is going through stuff on their own. They have pulled back from a lot of licensed product
Oh, really?
because it hasn't done well. Playmates put out a Star Trek line.
Yeah.
It did not do well at retail, and they just dropped it.
Wow.
So right now, Nacelle Company is trying to put out Captain Jellicoe.
I don't watch the new stuff.
Scotty's nephew from Wrath of Khan,
Oh, okay.
who
Wow.
died in engineering.
Right,
I'm looking at their list of characters, and I was like, this is really obscure stuff. And they're hoping to, I don't know what they're hoping to do, but
It will happen. It will happen. We just take a deep breath because we're very specific to and for our collector and our audience. And if we can't, we don't want to overbuild any individual product. If we can't build 5,000 to 7,000 pieces of an individual item and have it completely sell through,
Right.
then we have no interest in doing it. We did a lot of Star Trek over a 3-year period.
Right.
Virtually all the key characters, Next Generation, original characters across the board, and the collector at that moment in time, who is basically the same collector, has acquired it all.
Right.
So we know there's going to be a moment in time we're going to bring it back, but it's not yet. We're not yet ready.
So I'm going to say this on the record, and every time we're all in the same room together, the same conversation comes up, and I just want to talk about it one last time and never talk about it again.
That's a good idea.
Thank you, Jesus. Trelane. You know, Dave Nichols and the Trelane thing. This is what I explained to them, okay? He says, and he's got 250,000 people in his group, right?
That's great.
And both you and I, Paul Clarke, have said, we will help you start a crowd fund, sell 3,000 pre-sold.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Paramount does not like that idea.
Oh.
We have talked about it,
Okay.
and they said, we really don't like the idea of a pre-order, and that's why it stopped.
Okay, that's fair enough. Greg Donovan asked, can you share any Marvel news?
No.
Next. Okay, Mark Urq asked,
I can.
okay, go ahead.
They are still in existence.
Still around, right? Still making movies. Mark Urq asked, what happened to the female line that was showcased at Toy Fair in 2023?
Just, we said, we asked everybody, do you want them out on the old bodies or new bodies?
Uh-huh.
And everybody's like, a new body. And it's like, well, but that may take a while.
Right.
And so, we have the license, we're ready to go, everything's at the factory, it's just a matter of being told when to go.
Okay, and who does that?
Him.
Marty Abrams.
Yep.
Okay.
Again, as we stated, we on a comfort level don't want to have any carryover, because once you have in the collector business, you have 25 pieces of carryover. What happens at retail? It gets marked down. Once it gets marked down, the other guys who bought the other 5,000 pieces get pissed off. And so our game plan is real simple: sell through 100%.
Right.
And so if anything gets delayed, it's because at that moment in time we have and kicked the tires just enough,
Right.
to know that it's not going to have 100% sell through.
Right, because as bad as Dave Nichols wants a Trelane, he doesn't want 2,999 of them in his living room.
Exactly.
I totally get it.
Yeah, I mean that's
And why would you tie up money when you can do something else with it?
No, it's not even that. It just taints everything else. It's very, we sit with several thousand pieces that we won't even bring into America. We'll sell them into other markets, but not North or Mexico or Canada. We just don't want to taint that marketplace.
I get that. I totally get that. Jimmy Young's asked, what's Marty and Paul's favorite Mego so far?
What, new ones or ever?
Whatever.
I'd say Spider-Man Mego.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. What's your favorite Mego?
Listen, I'm a big proponent of a guy by the name of Lee.
Okay.
And so
Yep.
I will take both Spider-Man and the Hulk as a combo.
Excelsior.
Yeah, I mean, he's a special guy. I can remember one Toy Fair. It actually was a licensing show.
Okay.
And him and I were real good friends. And I've got a backpack on carrying unique samples. I'm going from place to place. And
Right.
I'm walking down the hallway, and he's walking up the hallway. And our eyes meet, and he looks me up and says, "You're out of your mind. You're carrying your own samples." So I said, and so what does that mean? He says, "You're out of your mind." And he just kept walking. My point is, a very special guy.
Right.
And we're and this, I'll give you a little snippet of the future.
Okay.
And Paul may not like the idea of me saying this, but there's been a whole new reorganization in the Stan Lee licensing program, and it's pretty extraordinary. And they've come to us to pull something together for them.
That's awesome.
And that's a hit. It won't be till much later this year or spring next year, but it's coming.
Okay. So Dean Galgano asked, what's the status of the Star Trek anniversary figures? Same answer from Paramount.
Yeah.
Okay. Steve Sippin asked, will Mego Wave 20 or 21 have any Planet of the Apes or monsters?
That's what this guy asks every day.
Oh, I know. That's what
Monsters, yes.
Okay.
Apes, Fox was not happy with Fox. Disney was not happy with how the new movie went.
Real? Oh, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
so, we deal with Disney. If, you know, we did a lot of apes.
Yeah, no, I know. I have them all.
Yeah, the next one's we're going to be like what, Virgil, Aldo. I mean, how, you know, we did Caesar. The problem with all these licenses is there's there's a hierarchy, just
Right.
like any mythology, or, you know, there's the very popular, and then you start dropping off. And fans always want us to do the very obscure, you know, less known characters, and you just can't sell enough of them to justify it.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to have a Nova.
Not hard to do.
Right.
Can be done actually off
You can go
license.
to Nova Scotia.
Yeah. Get some locks.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when we talked at Toy Fair, you guys said it to me, right to my face. You said, we'll make anything.
Yes.
Absolutely. We will make anything. No problem. But we got to pre-sell them, you know?
It's got to be enough demand.
Right.
And for every guy that goes, oh, everybody wants these. Yeah, until they don't sell, and then we're sitting on a lot of unsold inventory.
Exactly.
And it's like, oh, what happened to everybody wants these?
Right. That's why I'm not, you know what I want. I'm not going to be a
Listen.
dead horse.
Yeah,
Lord of
yeah.
the Rings. I thought that was a slam dunk.
Right.
50-year history, the
Yeah.
movies.
Oh, yeah, all of it.
We put them out in Target.
Yep.
They didn't sell.
Wow.
So that, you know, I mean, everybody has their, oh, well, everybody wants these.
Yeah. Brian McGee asked, how many Disney sets can we expect? Right.
As long
Again,
as- as long
don't shoot the messenger.
No, as long as they're like, okay, let's do this. I sent them a PowerPoint of 50
Wow.
and Star Wars and, you know, and play sets and
Right.
you know, I did a whole nerd dump on them, and it's up to them. I said, whatever you want, we can do all this stuff.
Okay. That's great. And their response?
Sounds great. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, we'll let
It's
you
like
know.
Mom.
Yeah, don't right. That's a definite maybe.
Can I get a Mego?
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. So Andrew Carden asked, will Mego be looking to get other licenses other than DC and Marvel? We already know yes. Yes. This was what's the status on Hammer figures?
We have Hammer. We have the license available.
Okay.
I want to do another version of Christopher Lee.
That would be cool. I personally like the Bela Lugosi.
Bela Lugosi was great,
Yeah, that
but
was
that's
awesome.
that's one character.
Oh yeah.
It's his granddaughter.
Oh
Yeah, Lynn Lugosi.
I've met her.
Controls the license.
I met her at Chiller. She seemed nice.
She's lovely.
Yeah.
But it's one. You know, it's kind of hard to do. You know, we're going to do casual Bella, or we're going to do, you know, like
Dracula Bella. Or,
Well, that's it. It's Dracula.
Right.
You know.
Right.
You're going to do him as Igor from Son of Frankenstein.
Yeah.
All the above.
All the above.
I
yeah.
wish.
Yeah.
I wish. Is there anything else you want to add to this?
Nope.
Interview?
We're just happy to be here.
No. I'm so happy to have you here.
You know, that even people think about us as a joy.
You have, and I wish we could just explain to people, like, coming up, that all these kids that are stuck in their houses playing video games, won't get off their phones, other things. Literally, like, imagination is missing. You know, I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for you propelling my imagination. You know, I wouldn't have a personality. I wouldn't be doing all these other things. And all.
You think he has a personality?
I'm trying to come out of my shell. Okay, that's what I'm working on.
Keep working.
Therapy helps.
You're doing fine.
Therapy and
You
Xanax.
got your own show. It's great.
It's all right. I'm supposed to have a co-host. We're supposed to be, you know, getting this done. But I'm Eric Danger Nine Ice,
Paul Clarke.
Marty Abrams.
and thank you guys for checking us out.
Thank you for having us. We really do appreciate it.
And we are out of here.
Thank you.